Good Tuesday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldridge, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. On behalf of Weigel's, fuel and food that's fast, fresh, and friendly, here's your East Tennessee weather update. Got to bring you up to speed, though, quickly. Want to mention the fact that we have some fog, some freezing fog that might be a challenge to you this morning. So please be extra careful. We've got zero. In fact, it's down to about 1/8 of a mile in terms of dense visibility. Right around the McGee-Tyson Airport, those areas in dark white or bright white would suggest poor visibility from Maryville to Oak Ridge to Jacksboro. And because temperatures are in fact freezing, below freezing in fact, they're in the 20s, 25 Morristown, 27 Knoxville, 25 Maryville. This would be freezing fog, so it is extra careful, extra important to point out that you want to be extra careful this morning as you head out the door. By the way, just want to mention my sponsor again, if you haven't noticed, but there's a brand new special milk that you can find at Weigel's. You can go banana for their flavor. Banana pudding milk, it is out for just a limited time. It is a delicious, iconic Southern dessert, but it's now a sippable treat. Check out the banana pudding milk at Weigel's. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store in 24, and it's just better with it when it's with Tennessee cows. But the all new banana pudding milk, very, very tasty. In fact, I just bought my third quart on Sunday. So how's that for transparency? It's delicious. You gotta love it. Have to try it to know that you'll love it. But certainly it's something pretty special. By the way, temperatures are in the 20s. It's cold. What happened? Winter returned. I thought we had a thaw. We did. We had a January thaw, but now we are at 25 degrees in Morristown. Very little wind, so wind chills aren't really a factor. So 27 feels like 27. Now, I am on both YouTube and Facebook this morning. I want to say good morning to you. If you're on either platform, please leave me a comment. I'll do my best to answer any questions that you might have on Facebook and come down here and see if there's any notes. I see over here, Carrie Aguilar says, good morning, everyone. Drive safe and have a fantabulous day. I agree. I think it's a good day when you know that it's going to be above freezing. In fact, we'll be in the 50s today. 50s, you say that sounds like spring to me. Yeah, there could be some mixing going on because we'll show you this front's coming down from the north and it will change the platform. Steve Stone says good morning. He's got a happy face. Glad to have Steve here. So we're talking about some interesting weather this morning that may include some raindrops later in the afternoon. I'm thinking like after 3 p.m. for most, as it will be dropping down from the north and west. So Oneida, Jamestown, even Monticello will get in on the act for precipitation much sooner, as we'll go from haze and fog and then eventually some increasing clouds and some precipitation. Let me show you as far as the temperatures are concerned. Let's take you to the visibility. Again, if you're just joining me, very dense fog around the McGee-Tyson Airport. That's what that zero indicates. But under the hood, it's actually 1/8 of a mile. So it's pretty poor, pretty dense. So please be extra careful. You see a lot of ones. So it's down to about less than a mile in many parts of Morgan County, Cumberland County, as well as Blount County. So it's very important that you drive extra carefully this morning, which may mean that you have to apply some extra bug juice. You know what I'm talking about, the windshield wiper fluid. That's what you're going to have to apply, most likely in ample supply, if you're getting some of that freezing droplets on your windshield. Now notice the precipitation in Illinois. You mean that's what we're tracking today? That's what we're tracking, right? It's swinging through parts of southern Illinois right now, be sliding across southern Indiana, and eventually it'll come down from Kentucky for us later in the day. But that's not the issue this morning. The issue this morning is just getting through the fog. We have more snow across Michigan this morning and across parts of Canada, Great Lakes. That will stay up there. But meanwhile, Friday is kind of like a weather day, right? Friday is a Groundhog Day. Doesn't mean much to most, but for me it's kind of interesting because there is a lot of history, a lot of legend with the groundhog. Not always well understood, but Puxatawney Phil will be coming out of his burrow, as it were, at Gobbler's Knob. If he sees his shadow, and that's a big if, although he sees it most of the time, but if he sees his shadow, that typically means what? It means we've got 6 more weeks of winter. Oh, you don't think we have 6 more weeks? Oh, we sure could. We sure could. I talk about that in great detail with my premium members on Facebook. But if he does not see his shadow, what's that mean? That means early spring. And some of you are like, I'm for that. I'm all for the early spring. That'd be great. I'd be okay with that too. But if he sees his shadow, I like his nose twitching there, that would mean 6 more weeks of winter. This Friday we'll be watching what Groundhog Puxatawney Phil has to say early in the morning. Temperature right now 27 in Knoxville. It's 25 in Johnson City. We have some freezing fog that may be locally dense. So again, be extra careful. 28 right now in Chattanooga. It's 29 in Nashville at this particular moment. Wind speeds I mentioned aren't moving much. What are they now? 3 miles an hour? It's not going to affect the wind chill. It's still going to feel like it's in the mid-20s. Essentially no wind in Oak Ridge, and hence with very little wind, we have some fog developing. Now, as far as the normals, as far as the rainfall, we get about 4.76. We had a very rainy week last week. We've now had over 6 inches of rain and melted snow. Got to be fair. We did get 8.5 inches of snow. When you melt that down, that's tabulated into the 6.08. So 6.08 is what we've had so far. And we're going to add a little bit more today. We're going to add a little bit more tonight, and maybe some spots of precipitation on Wednesday. But the drought monitor, which came out last Thursday, removed Knox County for the first time since like September. For the first time since September, we've now been removed from the drought, which is nice, right? But there are some areas, not everybody's removed. I see some severe drought in Orange and Wartburg, Crossville, perhaps Jamestown, southern Fentress County still has some issues. But when this comes out again on Thursday, because they'll take into account what we have as of 8:30 this morning, that's how that works. They put it in the supercomputers, and presto changeo, we get a new drought monitor across the board. This is coming out by the way of NOAA and OAA, and you can see there are some extreme areas where rain is much needed, and that would be parts of Mississippi, Louisiana, and even West Tennessee. So the drought monitor gives us a good idea of not only how much little rain has fallen in some parts, but they also tabulate soil moisture. There's a whole host of variables they look at and consider before they issue their drought monitor. So we're keeping an eye on that. So maybe hopefully see some much improved areas in Tennessee by Thursday morning. The radar is still showing some rain, I mentioned, in Illinois. That's our weather maker this afternoon. Not this morning, but that's how fast this system's going to drop down. We'll be watching that very, very closely. That's our temperature right now, 27 degrees. It's 27 in Oak Ridge and 25 in Morristown. Good morning to you. If you've got a note, let me know. Steve Stone's over here on YouTube. On Facebook, I got Janet Potts. She says it's cold in Talbot with a very heavy frost on cars and grass. I would imagine all that condensation, all that fog, it will freeze on a windshield and make things very, very frosty, if not glazed over. Kathy Self says it's 25 in East Morristown. Thank you, Kathy. And Darcy says, Burr, it's cold. It's 23. Frosty here. I need more. She says, I need more Weigel's hot coffee to deal with this. I agree. Thank you very much, Darcy. And Danny says, good morning, David. Hope you have a great day. Go Vols. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you all here as we're just keeping an eye on what the weather is happening today, how it's going to unfold, and what we can expect moving forward. 25 currently in Newport. It's 31 in Wartburg, and a little bit milder in quotation marks. I mean, keep in mind, it's 5 degrees warmer. In Oneida at 32 compared to Knoxville, and it's 5 degrees warmer in Jamestown right now. They are at 32 degrees. Now, as far as the temperatures, that's part of the story. I mentioned the wind chill. Just a 3-mile-an-hour wind can make 27 feel like 23. Still feels like the mid-20s, right? Feels like 23 right now in Cumberland County and Crossville, and the clouds are beginning to move in, which may stir a little bit of that fog that you have this morning. So if it's not fog and haze, we'll go to increasing clouds, because what's going to come down from the north, and you can see it very clearly. Look how fast. This is a 6-hour time lapse. I'm looking toward Paducah. Look at that rain coming down into Paducah. That's going to sweep in here like a broom late this afternoon. Most cases after 3 p.m. for the valley, but we'll start much sooner for places like Monticello, Jamestown, and Oneida. It's just going to come in and then sweep down from the north-northwest. As far as our picture sunrise, it comes up at 7:38 this morning, 7:38, and it will be going down at 6:01. Hey, that's some improvement, right? Some improvement. We get a 6:01 sunset time. I think that's pretty nice. By the way, if you're curious, yesterday we hit 45 degrees. That was expected by yours truly. 49.30 is the normal, high and low. And the record low today, ready for this? -9. It was -9 in 1966. That's still the record low for this date. So we're not anywhere close to that, thankfully. Nowhere near -9 degrees, but it was at this time back in 1966. Okay, sunrise, 6:01. Sunset, 6:01 this afternoon, evening. So our days are getting longer. For bus drivers, and more importantly, and just as importantly, are the drivers going through school zones. Please be extra careful. Little kids are hard to see when you've got fog and they're trying to get to their bus stop. So please be extra careful. 35 at 10. But then it recovers ahead of this front. We're suddenly rocketing through the 40s and into the low 50s for pickup. So that was a very strange kind of day. It is a strange kind of day because of the lack of clouds maybe overhead if some fog has in fact formed. These are my high temperatures today. You ready for this? 55 in Knoxville. That's what I expect today. 52 in Kingston. 55 in Athens, and 51 in Crossville. With those hazy fog reports giving way to increasing clouds, those showers will come later in the afternoon. Look for a high of 56 in Newport. And if you're in Bell County, Kentucky, 48 degrees, upper 40s for Knox County, Kentucky, Barberville, 50 for La Follette will be about 49 around Jellicoe today. Headlines, we're expecting highs in the mid-50s, low to mid-50s, but hazy sun, increasing clouds. The showers that arrive this afternoon do in fact come from the north-northwest. And if we see some rain, which I suspect we will see for most, there could be a rumble of thunder with this system coming into town. And yes, there could be even a mix in places like Sneedville. Oh yes, I said Sneedville. Or Tazewell, Claiborne County. Oh, Claiborne County and Hancock County may be fair game for a little bit of a mix. And then changing over to some mountain snows for the Smokies. So you will have a little bit of everything. If you want everything on the table, at least it's not bitter, right? It's cold. 20s are cold. Normal low's 30. But at least it's not as bitter as it's been in days past. Rain, rumbles, mix. We got the whole potpourri, the whole kitchen sink, so to speak. And let me show you how much snow potentially could pile up in the Smokies from this system as it drops down from the northwest. You can see some areas in the Smokies may actually get over an inch or two. That's certainly reasonable. And you'll notice the areas that are more prone for mixing in the plateau would include Wartburg, Crossville, Jamestown. Now, do I really think you're going to get 0.3 inches of snow? No. This is just model data. But that may be indicative of where the mixing is more inclined to occur. So while you get mostly rain, like I say, it came down a little bit of icy pellets, sleet, right? You might get a little bit of that mix in the plateau from anywhere from Oneida, Jamestown, La Follette, and even up into southeast Kentucky where there could be more areas that see some of that changeover. Now, right now we are at 27 degrees. We have a west wind at 3 miles per hour, but the wind chill currently is at 23 degrees. That's where we are. By the way, it's 6:52. My goal is to be done at the top of the hour. Valley Planner, maybe a little wordy, but it's kind of needed. I think you've got haze, you got fog. Some of you will just see increasing clouds, but it will turn breezy. I suspect winds will pick up 5 to 15, gusting to 25 miles per hour today. So gusts around 25, and that will occur more likely 3 or 4 in the afternoon when the rain starts to move in. Late afternoon showers, some of it may change to a mix. But look at that, 55 will take all afternoon to get there. I think between 3 and 4, our best chance to reach into the lower to mid-50s. Here's your precipitation chances, about 30% today. I have a 60% chance tonight, and then it's a 20% chance tomorrow. And then goose eggs, no chance of rain on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But next Monday, we'll have to watch something very closely as well, as our changeable weather pattern will continue. Now, if you're a fan of the snow and the cold, you don't want to miss this. I'm going to show you some interesting slides here. Temperature right now, Knoxville, 27. That's a cold spot. But at least it's not -5 like it is in Caribou. Caribou, Maine? Yeah, that's -5. That's cold air. 25, Bismarck. We're almost as cold as Bismarck. Almost, right? But it's 44 in St. Louis. So our system that's coming down from Illinois and Missouri and Indiana, it's going to drop down and bring us back up into the 50s as it begins to approach. So when you talk about this cold pattern dropping down like so, there will be some bouts of cold air by tomorrow, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we're back in the upper 20s. It is cold. But then we start a new month, and you might say, well, that's not bad. I mean, it's not really team spring. It's not really team snow. It's kind of like in the middle. You got some really cold air in purple coming down toward Montreal and into parts of New England. That's the cold air, like single digits. That's very cold. But that would take you through the 3rd. But then if things start to turn colder, if not immediately by the 7th, certainly after the 8th. By the 8th of February, I think could be an inflection point, a turning point, because you'll start to see some of that cold air. Look at that race again. So it would be cold enough for some snow in the blue areas. But if we get a little southern system, we could actually match. We could marry moisture with cold air, and that's the recipe for a good snowstorm, possibly. And we talk about this on a daily basis with my Captain Accurate Premium site. But by the way, February 13th, we're getting closer to Valentine's Day, and it gets even colder, no doubt, by then. By the way, if you haven't picked up a bottle of the all-new banana pudding milk, go bananas for flavor. It's delicious, it's yummy, and yes, it's just like that southern iconic dessert into a sippable treat. Go bananas for flavor. It's just now out for a limited time at a Weigel's near you. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store in 24. It's just better when it's with Tennessee cows. Love the all-new banana pudding milk. Go to bananas for flavor. I hope you'll check out a bottle. And again, if you go there, tell them Captain Accurate sent you. That does make a difference. They love to hear that. If you're at the register, be sure to tell them why you're there. By the way, Futurecast shows it getting colder in time for Valentine's Day. And I asked this question online yesterday. I said, who's hungry for more snow? Because winter's main course starts later in the month. Later in February, winter will in fact come back, and that's because some of the cold air that's up into Canada and up through the Arctic will try and drop back down in chunks, in waves, and that's why I don't think you can write this winter off by any stretch. There will be perhaps a whole nother season, a whole chapter to this book that you'll say, man, this February was not all that grand. Now we'll come back into our closer view. Again, this is just model data, but it shows some of that snow in the Smokies that come in for tonight, tomorrow. It shows maybe an inch or two around, say, maybe Klingman's Dome. Very little in the plateau. 0.1 is just flurries. But then there's a little purple spot there. That's interesting because that's over 8 to 12. 8 to 12 inches of snow just across the state line. I wonder if that's related to a southern slider. Yes, it is. A little movement, track temperature and timing. That's what it's all about. We could see something, maybe it moves into parts of East Tennessee. But there's a big area in pink there that would represent 8 to 12 inches of snow. And if it's not that particular storm, there could be one that follows it thereafter. We'll keep an eye on that. Storm Prediction Center talking about no concern, I mean zero concern for severe weather across the lower 48. So if you're traveling today and you can get through the fog this morning, you should be fine. There's no concern for anything that would be damaging winds or tornadoes. Wednesday looks quiet, too, for the lower 48. It's winter. It's not spring. Thursday looks no different, although maybe a few thunderstorms in California or even in Arizona that would be of the general variety by Thursday. But it's pretty quiet here across the board. Let me show you the Futurecast. This may be very telling. See how we have a warm front on the right, got a cold front on the left. It's all going to try and drop down. There's 10 a.m. There's 11. It's getting closer to Bowling Green. Okay, and there by midday, it's not raining yet in Knoxville. As I say, most of us will have to see it come later in the afternoon. This brings it right into parts of Middlesboro before 3 p.m., and I think it'll extend down into Knoxville as well. 5 o'clock drive. It gets kind of messy, right? I see some pink, I see some blue. It's a whole hodgepodge, and that's why I suspect there'll be some mixing. Maybe even some stray flakes tomorrow, but I think by and large it pretty much shuts down from clouds to sun on Wednesday. Thursday is just bright sunshiny skies. Thursday's high about 53. I think you'll love Thursday if you're on Team Spring, and you'll love not only Friday but also Saturday as we'll have more sunshine in our future. But at least in the short term, it will get a little messy with some drops of rain. Here's another way to look at this. Here at 9:30, low 30s. By about noontime, it's moving into Jamestown. It's moving into Knoxville. This one's a little faster. Takes it right through Knoxville before 3:30. So depending on the speed and track, you may be dealing with drops of rain, if not the middle part of the afternoon, north and west, especially early part of the afternoon. 4 o'clock, I think we've got a good chance of making it into low to mid-50s. Then you'll notice the mixing in blue and pink. So the Smokies may see some more snow by 8 o'clock tonight, if not sooner. There's a little bit of drop, a few showers still remaining by 10 o'clock on this particular model. But then there's still some mixing. Look at Newport. That's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Maybe some sleet mixing in with some snowflakes and raindrops as well. So we will have to say goodbye to this system, and then the clouds will break up, and we'll find temperatures tomorrow around 46 degrees. So Wednesday will be just like it was yesterday. Mid-40s is my expectation. But then the sun comes out in earnest on Thursday, so the sunglasses will be needed. But high temperature today, now that it's 6:59, 55 degrees. Haze and fog give way to increasing clouds, and then the showers develop a little bit later in the afternoon. Winds will pick up 5 to 15, gusting to 25. I noticed the temperatures today should reach about 50 in La Follette, 50 in Wartburg, and 54 in Alcoa and Maryville this afternoon. I got a couple of comments and notes from you. Bob says, good morning, David. Love me some Weigel's chocolate milk. Ooh, I like yeah, I do too. You know, every time I go there, I'm like, what am I in the mood for? There's always something you can always discover at Weigel, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, Bob. Thank you for that. Wanda says, cold mornings, time to get some Weigel's coffee and milk for hot chocolate. Thank you, Wanda. She's also on here. And good morning from Ed. Please stop with the snow. He's ready to he's ready to stick a fork in it. He's ready to, he's done. He's done with the snow. He's had enough. For those who are on Team Snow, we felt like we were robbed last winter, right? Remember last winter? It was just 1.6 inches of snow the day after Christmas of 2022, and we hadn't had any good snow, until, of course, Martin Luther King weekend. That was the day, Martin Luther King Day, and right before and after, totaling 8.5 official inches at McGee Tyson. Some of you got 10, 11 inches, I know, on that storm, which is now more than 2 weeks ago. 56 are high in Tellico Plains is my expectation. If you're in Athens, 55, Crossville, 51. If you're traveling today, they could and very well likely be in the low 60s. In Memphis today, 64 in Tupelo, and 60 in Columbia, South Carolina. So that's where the warmth will reside here on a Tuesday. It is now 7 o'clock straight up. Showers, rumbles, mountain flakes, rain, snow mix. You got the whole kit and caboodle. You're really trying to cover yourself. Because we probably could have it a little bit. Somebody said, I had some thunder, I had some sleet, I had some snow, and all the comments will likely come in depending on what you experience tonight, because overnight lows will drop down to about 36 degrees. Now 33 for a low in Oneida, 36 in Morristown, Newport. Looking for a low in Oak Ridge, Clinton, and Oliver Springs, down to about 35. Kingston, 33, first thing tomorrow morning. As we look ahead at your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville and East Tennessee, 46 on Wednesday. Notice that little 60% there. That's a hodgepodge of everything, a mix. And then 53 on Thursday. Don't forget Groundhog Day. Well, at least I won't anyway. Mostly sunny. 58. There's a chunk of time. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can probably, if you're on Team Spring, say this is how winter should be in the 50s. Even though the normal high is only 49, we're going to be running about 10 degrees above normal by Saturday. And then on Sunday, Monday, temperatures in the mid-50s. So we'll have to wait and see how our big Arctic air pattern, how it might very well change toward Team Snow in the coming weeks. So stay tuned. There's a lot still yet to be played out. By the way, if you haven't picked up a bottle of the brand new, all new banana pudding milk, go bananas for flavor at a Weigel's near you. It is delicious. It's yummy. I've bought now my 3rd bottle of it, and I probably will have to go back and get my 4th. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store in 24. That's all it takes. And it's just better when it's with Tennessee cows. Introducing, of course, the all new banana pudding milk. Go bananas for flavor. It's in stores for a limited time. You definitely want to check it out for sure. By the way, and you can also, as Bob mentioned, pick up the chocolate milk. You can do that too. There's no harm in that too. Or maybe a great hot cup of coffee. But please be careful in that fog, the freezing fog this morning that we're watching for sure. Well, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.